Good morning, my friends. My name is Lama, Jigme, Gyatso. You can call me Jig. This is 5-Minute Mindfulness. Welcome to the Buddha Joy Meditation School. As always, we draw our guided meditations from the greater discourse upon the 4 bases of mindfulness that was attributed to Buddha, who may or may not have been a supernatural being, who may or may not have even existed, who simply could be a mythical archetype. I don't care. I'm a non-theist. I don't believe or disbelieve. I'm very pragmatic. All I care about is using stuff that works and then sharing it with others. That's all. What are the 4 bases of mindfulness? Body, senses, mind, and phenomena. Phenomena discusses many things. Under the heading of phenomena, we discuss the 5 hindrances, the 5 aggregates, the 6 sense spheres, the 7 enlightenment factors, and the 4 noble truths. We've been playing with the 4 noble truths, and the 4 noble truths in essence would be suffering, cause, cessation, and means. We just completed our 6th set of contemplations on causality. Now we're going to hit our first of 6 sets of contemplations on cessation. There is a lot of mythology about cessation. Fundamentalists, bless their hearts, really like to exaggerate what this stuff is. They feel that it's kind of like hanging out with stoners when they start talking about Bruce Lee. Oh, they can't wait to exaggerate. So there's a myth that once you've accomplished cessation, you never feel suffering ever again. Well, if we invest in the myth of Buddha, we see that after he became enlightened, he had plenty of sufferings. So that kind of sinks the battleship of that illusion. As a liberal, I suggest to you that the cessation we're experiencing is twofold. Eventually, it's the cessation not of the presence of suffering, but of the tyranny of suffering. Suffering still happens, but we can get really good at dealing with it. Not necessarily shoving it away, because any idiot can be happy when life's awesome. It takes a real sage to be happy when life kind of sucks. And so that's the goal that Buddha offers us. So that's the ultimate cessation. It's just really getting good at these techniques. The conventional cessation is very subtle and is missed by most people. I insist, or it's been my experience, that Buddha's 2 pillars of wisdom are interdependence. Things affect other things, and things are affected by other things, and change. Consequently, we have the power to be changed by other things, and we have the power to change other things. For instance, I'm in California, if there's an earthquake, books could fall off my shelves. That's interdependence creating change. And then I would have a great big mess. Or I could find books on the floor, put them back on the shelves, and that's me changing the world around me. So interdependence goes both ways, and each time there's change in the equation. Pretty cool. Now, bringing that back into the realm of the 4 noble truths: suffering, solution, and in between you have causation and cessation, or in other words, interdependence and change. So all we're going to explore during the 60 contemplations over the next 6 lessons, 10 a day, is the possibility that things could change. The last 60 contemplations we played with over the span of 6 sessions, we looked at causality. For example, if something is pleasurable, we could reach for it. If not intellectually, then viscerally. If not consciously, then subconsciously. We could reach for it. We call that greed. Now we're going to explore the possibility that if something's pleasurable, that greed might not surface. That's the big secret of the universe. Things can change. That which we're drawn to in one moment, we might not be drawn to in the next moment. For instance, I remembered some things I was fascinated with when I was 12 that once puberty hit and I discovered girls, I ceased to be fascinated with. Things change. That's the essence of the third noble truth from the liberal point of view. Getting a mastery of the techniques of interdependence and change leads us to the ability to escape the tyranny of sufferings, if not their presence. Having said all that, let's get down to it. Today's 10 exercises are going to center around sensuality, specifically the body and sensations that the body can experience. How could this body be pleasurable, yet greed for it cease? How many times have we had that happen? You're in the mood for love. Oh, you want to make that sweet love. You want it. Then all of a sudden, that desire goes. It was there, and then it ceased. And that is natural. So we're not talking about some contrivance where we open up our head with a hacksaw and put in an ice cream scooper and pull out a prefrontal cortex. That's just gruesome and nasty. No. Buddha does not offer us a psychic lobotomy. He helps us be mindful of things that are already in place in our bodies, in our brains, in our world. And the awareness prevents them from taking us by surprise. At least in a catastrophic manner. How could this sensation be pleasurable, yet greed for it cease? These are lazy bastard techniques. All you got to do is repeat them silently and mentally. These are rhetorical questions. You don't got to answer them. In fact, they work better if you don't. All you got to do is mentally and silently repeat on the in-breath, relax on the out-breath, just like our bodies are already engineered by natural selection to do. So for the third exercise, on the in-breath, please silently and mentally ask the first half of the rhetorical question. How could this body consciousness be pleasurable? And on the out-breath, please silently and mentally conclude the remainder of the rhetorical question. Yet greed for it cease. And if that's a bit much to juggle, don't worry. In the doodly-doo, we've got a complete transcript of the techniques. How could this body consciousness be pleasurable, yet greed for it cease? Clearly, I'm not teaching you Neo-Taoist meditation where you're supposed to blank out and have no thoughts. I'm not teaching you Hindu meditation where you have perfect concentration and exude all other thoughts or sensations. This is the Buddha's path of mindfulness. And I think it works pretty good. At least it has for me thus far. How could this body contact be pleasurable, yet greed for it cease? How could this feeling of body contact be pleasurable, yet greed for it cease? How could this perception of sensation be pleasurable, yet greed for it cease? How could this sensation, volition be pleasurable, yet greed for it cease? How could this sensation, craving, be pleasurable, yet greed for it cease? How could this sensation, thought, be pleasurable, yet greed for it cease? How could this sensation, distraction, be pleasurable, yet greed for it cease? Having concluded our Vipassana work, now let's play with Meta's loving kindness. Today, let's turn our attention to something very earthy. Let's turn our attention to wealth, regardless of how we define wealth. If we're a dolphin, we might define wealth as a belly full of fish. If we're a squirrel, we might define wealth as a stash of acorns. Who knows? Great wealth for me, relaxing. Great wealth for neighbors, relaxing. Great wealth for earthlings, whether they walk, crawl, swim, or fly. Great wealth for earthlings, relaxing. Great wealth for all beings, relaxing. I thank you for your enthusiasm and your interest. If you wish to participate in the Friday series of weekly webinars, that begins this week, and you can register for that using one of the links below the video. Just find the phrase that's highlighted. It should say show more. Click that. It'll reveal a whole bunch of stuff in an area we call the doodly-doo. May you and yours be healthy and happy. Bye-bye now.